everybody, and welcome to the weekly scopes from the 30th of March until the 5th of April. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly scopes. If you've heard this before, you can skip, but this is just the intro on how I formulate these astrology weekly readings. I use astrology and my intuition to give you advice how you can practically use the knowledge of the stars and the planets and apply them to your life. So my weekly scopes are all based on GMT time and on Vedic Constellational Astrology. So now I'm just going to explain what Vedic Constellational Astrology is and how it differs from Western astrology. So the precession of the equinox is sort of like something that happens in astronomy and astrology, where the Earth's axis undergoes a slow circular motion over 26,000 years, and basically this means that this motion causes a shift in the position of the equinoxes, and also the calculation Vedic and Western astrologies use. So around 2,000 years ago, the tropical and sidereal Vedic astrology signs of astrology were aligned in the same position. So if the sun was in Scorpio in Vedic astrology, it was also in the constellation of Scorpio in Western astrology. But because of the precession of the equinoxes, this has caused a gradual westward sort of like drift of the tropical Western signs. So basically these signs and the Western signs shift 1 degree with every 72 years. So as a result of this ongoing shift, when Western astrology says the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, it's typically in the constellation of Aquarius. Still, this is because the degree, orb and the date for Western and Vedic astrology are 24 degrees 24 days apart. So in Western astrology, the sun enters the constellation of Pisces around the 19th of February each year, but actually the sun doesn't arrive into the constellation of Pisces until the 13th to the 15th of March each year, and Vedic astrology takes this into account because it's based on the fixed star positions, and Vedic astrologers use sidereal calculations. So as a result, Vedic astrology takes into account the actual positions of the constellations in the sky at any given time, and also considers the precession of the equinox, adjusting for the shift in the position of the equinoxes over time. But in terms of Western astrology follows the tropical zodiac, which is based on the seasons rather than fixed star positions. Western astrologers also do not directly account for the precession of the equinox in their calculations as well, so this results in slightly different calculations and interpretations that are given whether we're using Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So yeah, as I said, Western astrology uses specific dates, so every year, regardless of where the sun actually is at the sky, the sun moves into Pisces around the 19th of February. So yeah, this discrepancy, this misalignment between the tropical zodiac and the actual positions of the constellations has led to a discrepancy between Vedic astrology and Western astrology. So I consider the actual where the sun and the moon are and where Mars and Venus are at any given time, and this is how I formulate these sort of like weekly scopes. So yeah, thanks for listening to this, and let's dive into this week's weekly scope. Okay, so now I'm just going to explain what parallels and contra parallels are in astrology, because I use them in my chart interpretation. So declination in astrology is the measure of how far a celestial body is, such as the sun, whether it's either north or south of the celestial equator. And the celestial equator is an imaginary line in the sky above the Earth's equator, which us astrologers use in our interpretation. So parallels happen when two planets are on the same declination. Either both planets are on the north side side, or either both planets are on the south side, and this alignment increases the influence of the involved planets. So it's similar to a conjunction aspect, as it amplifies their energy, making the effects of the planets more pronounced. Contraparallels, on the other hand, happen when two planets are on the same declination, but one is in the north and one is in the south. So this alignment creates tension, which is similar to an opposition aspect, and it can lead to conflict, challenges and inner struggles between the energies of the planets involved. So contraparallels highlight areas of friction or contrast in our lives, urging us to find balance between the opposing forces at play. When transiting parallels and contraparallels happen, they can sort of like trigger significant events, shifting consciousness and periods of intense growth and transformation. So I look at these aspects closely during chart analysis to understand how planetary energies interact and influence each other during a specific time frame, to pinpoint key periods for personal development, relationship dynamics or career shifts, and other shifts like karmic shifts and stuff like that. Because I just find using contraparallels and parallels gives me more depth in interpretation, so I use them. So contraparallels and parallels in astrology serve as markers for potential challenges or breakthroughs, guiding us towards more self-awareness, love, acceptance, understanding, forgiveness for ourselves and others, and shifts in consciousness and growth. So overall, just a shift in our mindset if we allow for it. So parallels and contraparallels just kind of like provide valuable insights into the complexities and nuances of the astrological interactions between planetary movements. So yeah, that's the end of what contraparallels and parallels are. So this week we've got quite a few aspects controlling us, influencing us, shall I say, yeah? So the first is the Sun's contraparallel to Saturn. So this entered on the 26th of March and is exact on the 30th of March and leave us on the 4th of April. And the Sun's in Pisces and Saturn's in Pisces as well. Mercury marks a contraparallel to Neptune, and they're both in Pisces as well. Mercury also makes a contraparallel to the Moon's North Node, and contraparallels are the same of oppositions, and it just means they're on a different side of the astrological atmosphere. Contraparallel, when planets are contraparallel each other, yeah. Also, Mercury makes a conjunction to the Moon's North Node. This entered on the 1st of April, is exact on the 14th of April, and leaves us on the 13th of April. And they're both in Pisces. Saturn makes a sextile to Uranus. This entered on the 22nd of March, is exact on the 4th of April, and leaves us on the 20th of April. So lasting us, up until, 2-3 weeks. So controlling us most, influencing us most of April. And then we've got this nice Neptune parallel the Moon's North Node, which entered on the 14th of January this year, is exact on the 4th of April, and leaves us on the 6th of June, and they're both in Pisces. So Saturn's contraparallel to the Sun wants us to focus on personal identity and our sense of responsibility, So this aspect helps us develop a deeper sense of maturity and self-awareness, encourages us to take stock of our goals and how they align with our responsibilities. We may find ourselves more likely inclined to set realistic goals and commit to long-term projects, as the disciplined energy of Saturn helps ground the ethereal qualities of Pisces, but negatively feelings of self-doubt and restrictions on our self-expression, as we struggle with the weight expectations both from ourselves and others, may weigh us down. So it's essential to navigate these feelings carefully, as they can lead to breakthroughs in understanding our personal limits and our boundaries, and also the boundaries we may have imposed on our goals and ambitions, like, it's too late for me, I can't do this, people like me don't get this, So just thinking about why you think you can't reach where you want to go, if that's the way you think. Psychologically, it wants us to scrutinise, analyse how our self-image and the roles we play in life intersect with our goals and ambitions, and examine the structure, routines that shape our identity, and recognise any fears that might be holding us back. Spiritually and esoterically, it wants us to balance our sense of discipline and dreaminess, and it wants us to look into the depths of our intuition while simultaneously anchoring, grounding our visions in practical reality, So it wants us to spend time on reflective practices such as meditation and journaling, and integrating the lessons of accountability with the expansive, far-reaching qualities of our imagination, allowing ourselves to dream and open up and to believe that we can be better than what we are now, if that's what we wish to do. Mercury's contra-parallel to Neptune we can find the boundaries between reality and imagination are more porous and open. We're more open to ideas, and we can soak them up like a sponge. Positively, it helps us improve our intuition and creativity, so make it excellent time for our creative expression and spiritual exploration and diving into our subconscious. But negatively, the confusion that can come about in our miscommunication can cloud our thoughts and lead to misunderstandings, and we may experience a temptation to escape reality, whether through daydreaming or indulging in fantasies, which can be both a source of inspiration and a potential for distraction from our practical matters as well. So we just need to watch out for that. We need to find that balance between reality and imagination. Psychologically, it encourages us to look into our inner world and our dreams and emotions that we may have previously neglected. It's a time for reflection and understanding the deeper motivations behind your thoughts and words, which can lead to seriously intense next level deep insights about yourself. Spiritually and esoterically, this aspect invites us to connect with higher areas of consciousness, and it allows us to tap into our universal wisdom. So it wants us to spend time on meditation and creative rituals that can help us use this energy of this transit, So use it to align with your deeper spiritual truths while staying grounded in the middle of, the chaos and confusion and mixed feelings that this energy also brings. Mercury's contra-parallel to the moon's north node helps us with our communication and supports us with our higher purpose. It wants us to engage in conversations that matter, whether it's in our personal, professional lives, and it wants us to, really be open to channels of new opportunities that can deepen our connection to ourselves and others. But negatively, it can add to the risk of us over idealising people this week, and this can lead to disillusionment if our expectations are not met right, and misinterpretations can come up regarding our goals, and this can lead to potential conflict between what we perceive and what is realistically achievable. So psychologically, this transit asks for a reconsideration of our goals and desires, and wants us to reflect on whether our current paths, lifestyle choices, relationship thoughts, behaviours align with our authentic self. And spiritually and esoterically, it wants us to surrender to the flow of life and trust in our intuition as our guiding force. So we may find that meditation, journaling and artistic plans during this time can help us clarify our vision and illuminate, lights up our paths forward, and this energy allows us to tap into our deeper sense of purpose, revealing how our thoughts and communication can shape your destiny. Mercury's conjunction with the Moon's North Node helps us to, it brings the intersection of thought and fate to our attention, supports us being creative and being artistic, and spending time in spiritual practices that align with our soul's journey. And it wants us to be clear in communication and supports us with being clearer in our communication this week, and increases our intuition and gives us a chance to express our dreams and visions. But we just need to watch out for the potential negatives which can stem from the vague, unclear energy of the impressionistic Piscean energy, and we may find that we struggle with unrealistic expectations, and this can lead to disappointment if reality doesn't really match with our idealized visions, So on a psychological level, this transit encourages self-reflection about our emotional world and the motivations behind our ambitions and goals, and it just supports us into looking into the depths of our subconscious, revealing hidden desires and fears that may influence our path. Spiritually, it offers an opportunity and it pushes us towards our destined life experiences, So we can have thoughts this week, or do research, or just have dreams that, show us where we want to be, and we may take the steps to get there, Ultimately, this energy wants us to transcend the everyday and own our deeper connection to ourselves, or find it, and be open to guidance for our dreams and intuitive practices, allowing ourselves to work towards our higher calling, our destiny. Saturn sextile to Uranus allows us to bring that structure and innovation to our life. It gives us the chance to totally own new ideas while remaining grounded in reality. And this alignment means that you can make practical advancements in your life, particularly in the areas where you are looking to break free from traditional constraints and living up to other people's expectations. It encourages us to strike a balance between security and freedom, and it makes it an ideal time for exploring unconventional projects or initiating changes that improve our overall stability, But negatively, we have to remember that we need discipline. Discipline is needed when we are faced with exciting new prospects, and there may also be tensions arising from conflicting desires for both progress and stability, and this can lead to feelings of restlessness. Psychologically, it invites us to rethink our relationship with authority and innovation, and we may find ourselves questioning outdated beliefs while also evaluating how much structure and routine we truly need for our personal growth, getting real about the fact we need to get outside of our comfort zone. Saturn in Pisces helps us understand our emotional and intuitive nature, and Uranus in Taurus encourages us to look at new ways of connecting the material world and our personal values with the spiritual. Esoterically, it wants us to awaken to our higher consciousness, pushing us to integrate our innovative ideas with a sense of responsibility and purpose. And as we navigate this energy, it's important to remain open to change, as it can lead to deep insights and transformative experiences. So Neptune's parallel to the Moon's North Node brings a mixture of inspiration and uncertainty. It sort of helps us improve our intuitive ability, so a lot of energy allowing us to do that this week, and it can help us go after creative plans that resonate deeply with our inner selves, and it supports us with exploring metaphysical creative projects this week and starting or restarting them, and our dreams and visions can become vivid right now, and we can get insights about our life purpose as well. But negatively, we can just feel confused under this influence, and we may be tempted to avoid confronting reality or being overly idealistic, losing sight of practical matters in favour of spiritual abstraction, not being open to spiritual awareness. Psychologically, it helps with our self-reflection, motivating us to look into our subconscious motivations and the emotional patterns that influence our decisions and maybe holding us back from growth, or the relationships and other habits that we do that are stopping us from reaching our goals. Because this week it's a focus on our goals, right? What do you really want out of life, and what do you think stops you from getting there? We can find ourselves drawn to past experiences or unresolved issues that require healing and understanding. Spiritually, the alignment of Neptune and the moon's north node allows us for healing and compassion, and wants us to connect with the universal energies of empathy and interconnectedness. So own this week's energy to deepen our spiritual practices, self-awareness and service to others, and nurture our intuitive gifts, allowing for Neptune and Pisces to guide you towards your personal fulfillment, happiness, So content creators can focus on how we can bring more discipline, responsibility and build more routine into our lives, how we can become more serious about our goals, and giving content and talking about how we can motivate ourselves to reach our long-term goals and ambitions, and how we can keep focus as life lives, and how to overcome obstacles. Talk about how we can set realistic expectations. Typically, if you think something's going to take a year, it can take 2 to 3 years, depending. Also talking about the importance of hard work and the value of patience in the pursuit of our dreams, and just sharing stories and insights about how you may have overcome challenges or others that may have done that, and how we can build more resilience and determination into our life. Also talk about how we can communicate more, how we can explore our spirituality and creativity more, and how we can work more with our intuition and imagination, and the dangers of not being able to trust our intuition as we navigate life. So it wants us to spend time on discussions about dreams, and talk about how we can reach our dreams and how we can take accountability for doing so. So now I'm just going to talk about the day-to-day influences. So on the 30th of March, daylight saving time starts. The clock goes forwards in England and places that do daylight saving time. Mercury makes a conjunction to Neptune. The Sun makes a semi-square to Uranus. The Moon enters void, of course. Moon enters Aries. So Mercury's conjunction to Neptune happens when Mercury's in Pisces and Neptune's in Pisces. The Sun makes a semi-square to Uranus, and the Sun's in Pisces and Uranus is in Taurus, and this influences us for a couple of days. And Saturn and the Sun make their exact conjunction today, and I talked about that earlier this week, so it's exact at 4:26 p.m. today. So daylight saving time allows for us to have longer daylight hours, right? And this can uplift our spirits and encourage us to get outdoors more, but it can also disrupt our sleep patterns, leading to feelings of fatigue and irritability as our bodies adjust to the time change. Mercury's conjunction to Neptune helps us to be intuitive and creative this week and have deep insights and imaginative thought, but we just have to exercise caution regarding our communication, as it can add to the misunderstandings that can come up this week, and Neptune's energy can blur reality, so we can escape into our intoxicating substances and toxic habits, so we just need to watch out for that. The Sun semi-square to Uranus adds tension and unpredictability to the week. Although it stimulates a desire for freedom and innovation, it can provoke restlessness or conflict as people struggle with traditional constraints and conformity and the push to live up to other people's expectations, versus their need for personal expression, So during this transit, it's important to use creative energy constructively, and this can lead to breakthroughs in problem solving or self-discovery. So as the moon moves into Aries, it allows us to be more assertive and energetic with our emotions. It encourages action and taking the initiative, starting new things, putting yourself first, standing up for your boundaries, but make sure you're not too aggressive with this, because the impulsive nature of Aries can lead to rash decisions or conflicts if not managed carefully. But the best use of this energy is to use it to launch new projects and go after your personal goals, On the 31st of March, Mercury makes its exact contra parallel to the Moon's North Node, which I talked about this week, and Mercury makes its exact contra parallel to Neptune. So this is exact at 16:58 today, so 4:58 p.m, leaves us on the 5th of April, and Mercury's contra parallel to the Moon's North Node is exact at 9:57 p.m. today, and also leaves us in the 5th of April. So as we move into April, the Sun is in Pisces, the Moon is in Taurus, Mercury is in Pisces retrograde, Venus is retrograde in Pisces, Mars is out of bounds in Gemini, Jupiter's in Taurus, Saturn's in Pisces, Uranus is in Taurus, Neptune's in Pisces, Pluto's in Capricorn, Chiron's in Pisces, and the Moon's North Node is retrograde in Pisces. So on the 1st of April, Venus makes a conjunction to the Moon's North Node, there's a crescent moon, the Moon enters void of course, and the Moon enters Taurus at 12. So Venus conjunction to the Moon's North Node happens when Venus is in Pisces and the Moon's North Node is in Pisces as well. So Venus conjunction gives us the opportunity for growth in our relationships and our personal values, so we can find ourselves drawn to connections that align with our higher purpose, and it can inspire feelings of love, harmony and attraction that's encouraging us to pursue meaningful relationships that develop mutual growth. So it's an ideal moment to reflect on our desires and set intentions that resonate with our true self, making it easier to attract what we look for. But negatively, we can overindulge and we can idealize others, as Venus energy can cloud our judgment, and it's in Pisces as well, retrograde as well, so our thinking may not be as clear as when Venus is forward. The Moon enters its crescent moon's phase, so this allows us to work on new beginnings and taking the insights gained from the earlier transit of the new moon. And the Moon in Taurus allows us to be grounded over the next few days and confront challenging situations, but it brings comfort as well. We can feel more stable and patient, so it's a great time to work on self-care, enjoying sensual pleasures and connecting with nature. Financial matters can improve and we can find ourselves more productive in practical tasks, but negatively we can become too stubborn and resistant to change, and we can just overindulge in comfort foods or material possessions, and our emotional responses can be slow, and this can lead to pent-up feelings. So the best use of this energy is to focus on engaging in our senses and cook a delicious meal and get a massage or work in the garden. It's an excellent time for budgeting, saving money or making long-term financial plans. Use this energy to finish projects that require patience and persistence. It wants us to practice mindfulness to stay connected with our body and the physical world around us. And we just have to remember that the key to enjoying stability is being flexible and adapting to change when necessary. And the Taurian energy can help us appreciate life and have gratitude for life's simple pleasures, So on the 2nd of April, the Sun's exact parallel to Venus happens at 12:52, and the Sun's in Pisces and Venus is in Pisces, and I talked about this earlier at the beginning of the week. On the 3rd of April, the Moon enters void of course, and then the Moon enters Gemini at 1:52 p.m. Moon in Gemini upgrades and improves our curiosity and desire for communication, and this change encourages us to share our ideas and develop connections, making it a great time for networking or spending time on, stimulating conversations, and it allows us to stay open to new information and look for new perspectives, as they can lead to enriching experiences and open up our horizons, our minds, to new things. Best use of this energy is to develop or strengthen our social ties, our bonds, our relationships, while also being mindful of our emotional needs and boundaries. On the 4th of April, Mercury makes a conjunction to the Moon's North Node, and Saturn makes a sextile to Uranus, which I talked about at the beginning of this week. Mercury's conjunction to the Moon's North Node happens when they're both in Pisces. So Mercury's conjunction to Pisces allows us to tap into ethereal, communication, and to think about our higher purpose, and it can help us communicate, understand what we want from our life and how to reach our highest potential, and also communicate this with others, our needs. But negatively, it can make us dreamy in our communication as well, because they're both in Pisces, and we may have blurred, unfocused desires about what direction we want to take. So it's important that we balance our responsibilities while going after new ideas and progressive changes in our life, and to make the best of this energy, focus on setting realistic goals that incorporate both our ambitions and need for stability, but also being open to getting real about what we see as our higher purpose, what we really want out of life, thinking about our communication, how we can improve our communication, how we can become more intuitive with our communication and understand our inner voice. On the 5th of April, Mars makes a sextile to Uranus. Neptune's parallel to the Moon's North Node is exact at 1:57 a.m. Mars makes a trine to Saturn at 2:08. The Moon's North Node goes direct. The Moon enters its first quarter moon stage. The Sun makes a quintile to Pluto, so this is nice and subtle energy, and the Moon enters void of course. So Mars' sextile to Uranus opens door to the unexpected opportunities and innovative ideas. It allows us to own being unconventional and breaking free from conformity, and this is what this week's about, being brave and fearless in our moves towards an exciting new life and accepting our highest potential and getting real about what we want out of life. Mars' trine to Saturn encourages us to channel this energy into productive plans, mixing action with determination. Yet we may find that our efforts bring tangible results if we're willing to be creative and disciplined with our hard-working efforts. The Moon's North Node direct signifies a moment where destiny aligns, and it pushes us forward with our life purpose. The Moon also enters its first quarter moon phase today, so this helps us to work towards the intentions that we set during the new moon and take the actions to bring the change that we need to bring to reach the goals that we set during the new moon. The Sun's quintile to Pluto adds depth to our personal transformation and offers opportunities for empowerment and self-discovery. And each of these transits today provides a chance to use, their energy for growth, balance and insight, and, bring us into our self-assurance and confidence, and helps us to work with intention. So yeah, that's the end of the weekly scopes from the 30th of March and to the 5th of April. My name's Amani. Take care and see you next week.